Good evening and welcome to a second chance men's panel for the end of Black History Month. My name is Philip Jones.
And my name is Tafaro Cook, two-time kidney transplant recipient and founder of Kidney Care Coaches, where we coach people with stage 3 to stage 5 kidney disease. If you or you know someone who has kidney disease and they have some challenges, hit us up at kidneycarecoaches.com.
We're going to jump right into this and get the real quick story from these four wonderful gentlemen. Mr. Hill, why don't you start us off, sir?
All right. Hey, good evening to everybody. I just want to tell you guys thanks for allowing me to be a part of the panel. I'm excited about everything. Listen, I'm Fred Hill. I'm excited to be here myself. I am a kidney transplant recipient. 2015, I had polycystic kidney disease. 2012, I went on dialysis there for 3 years. I got a kidney in 2015. From that point, even then, just an advocate for those who are on dialysis. Thank God that He turned everything from triumph from tragedy to triumph. What I've done, I am the author of Dialysis is Not Your Life. Dialysis is Not Your Life, available on Amazon.com. Grateful for the book. That's teaching about how to live your life while you're on dialysis, how to redefine your life while you're on dialysis. It's not about the medical side. It's about living. Also, I'm grateful. I'm an advocate for dialysis patients. I am a counselor for dialysis patients. Created also the Dialysis is Not Your Life program to get from point A to point B to get your life back. I'm not going to go deep into everything. I'm just excited to be here, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Hill, for being here with us. We appreciate you. Mr. Thames, you're up, sir.
All right. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Awesome. I appreciate this opportunity. Looking forward to fellowshipping with the brothers and sharing a little bit of our story. My name is Rich Thames. I live in San Antonio. I'm actually in Ohio right now with family. And I received a kidney transplant in January of 2020 after spending almost 2 years on peritoneal dialysis. I actually was diagnosed with lupus, and the lupus attacked my kidneys and ended up on dialysis. But I'm grateful and thankful I ended up getting a transplant from one of my business partners. And it was a guy that lived in Dallas. I was in San Antonio. And this gentleman drove 4 hours one way to get tested and do all of the work. You guys know how extensive this is. Didn't tell me a thing until he was completely finished with the process. He called me the day after Thanksgiving on 2019 and told me he was donating a kidney to me. And everything has been great since then. We're actually in the process of writing a book, co-authoring a book together called A Call for Love. So it's a beautiful thing. I'm excited to be here with the brothers. So thank you for having me.
We appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here with us.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Drake.
Thank you, man.
Hey, first and foremost, I appreciate you all having me on. It's great to always be amongst my brothers, and also it's amazing to be heard a little bit about you all. So salute and keep up the fight and whatever you're doing. But briefly, my name is Edward Drake, Edward Mr. YNOTT Drake to many. I'm a part of the YNOTT Foundation, which stands for Youth Needing Organ Tissue Transplants. Got sick back in college abruptly. As I like to say, I went from the college campus to the athletic field, or I went from athletic field to the hospital overnight. Did dialysis for 3 years. Why me at the time became a why not. 15 years later, just been a part of just a fight, trying to solve issues and help others who are fighting the same issue or fighting the same fight. So yeah, it's truly a blessing to be on with you all, and yeah, I look forward to this conversation.
Appreciate you, Mr. Drake. Awesome. Thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Drake.
Kidney fighter, Mr. Coronel. What's going on, sir?
I think my mic's off. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity to share amongst my fellow kidney warriors going in through this battle called kidney disease, right? So a quick brief on mine. I was diagnosed at 26, getting ready to be a professional boxer. I came into the doctor's office and I said, look, Just get me ready and sign me off to be a fighter, and then everything will be cool. I did all this amateur boxing, and that was my clean slate on my 26th birthday. 2 days later, I get a call. Marc, your creatinine levels and some of your data is a bit off. We want to make sure and do a biopsy to make sure that's not really the case. I ended up with FSGS, focal segmental sclerosis, which is scarring in the kidneys. And I was fighting that for about 8 years till I ended up on dialysis for almost 2 years. And through that process, I used social media to get a donor. I was able to accumulate 33 donors from social media alone. And the person that came forward was my sister's best friend. And interesting about her part is that she was actually a bone marrow donor, and she seen my story, and my sister told it to her. And she was like, they're taking too long to ask me to give my bone marrow. I'll just give my kidneys up. And, sure enough, she ran through the test, was denied at one hospital because she was a vegan. So she went to another hospital. All they did was give her iron infusions, and she donated a kidney. December 10, 2019, which puts me at that 2-year mark as well.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us, Ms. Coronel. We appreciate you.
Of course.
For these gentlemen have amazing stories in whole. So y'all, I'm actually upset that we can't get the whole thing to you, but it's a thing called time that we have to be cautious of. So, we're gonna get straight into this conversation. Mr. Cook, I know you're chomping at the bit right now. I can see he's over there writing already. He ready to he trying to get it going. So go ahead, Mr. Cook, start us off.
Well, first of all, I want to thank all you gentlemen, man. Like I said, one thing is awesome is you guys didn't just get the kidney and dissipate. You guys get the kidney and still fighting for the cause, and I truly respect that to the fullest. But the first question I have, and these questions are they're going to pertain to all you guys, but I'm going to start with Fred first. Fred, the first question I have for you is, what are you doing right now for the kidney community? Just explain a little bit like what you do as far as your advocacy, the book, and things like that.
Is he on mute?
My bad. I'm sorry, man. I am on me. I apologize. Listen, I want to say this before I start. I love God. I got to throw that out there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I got to give all praise and honor to God. If it hadn't been for Him, listen, wouldn't have made it. And I just want to give the testimony real short that I don't look like what I've been through. I'm looking at these brothers on here. Man, I'm telling you, so nice to meet you guys, and I know the same testimony. But what I'm doing is about giving back. The things I look at right now. Brother died, gave his life. He died, 28 years old. He died in a motorcycle accident, and I received his kidney. And for me, it just hit me so strong and so hard. It's not about me getting this kidney and just going back. I gotta live so that I want to make some type of example to let his parents, his wife, his children, to know that hey, this guy is he's living through me. I want to put that out there because that's the whole point that I said. Those who know my story, it's about life. And it's about living. And I had to choose to live while I was on dialysis. And I wrote the book, Dialysis is Not Your Life, because, again, I had polycystic kidney disease, and my grandmother had it, my aunt had it, my sister had it, my cousin had it. All of them died. And so now my thing, I got it. And so now what's going to happen to me? And so it was all thinking in my mind, I'm going to die. So I went through this big death, depression, fighting death, thinking death, I'm going to die for about a year. And it kind of realized, hey, listen, I got a second chance at life on this dialysis machine. I'm still alive. My wife, my son, I still got responsibilities. And I'm sitting here and I'm just going through motions and life is leaving me. And I'm like, listen, I got to live. And so I realized that dialysis gave me a second chance. chance at life, and what am I doing with it? And so I had to learn how to get my life back, get my sex drive back, get my swagger back, get my sexy. And I had to get into the gym. I had to get to a point of learning how to date my wife and to be there for my son, but practice and all those different things, and not be absent, not just existing or being. No, I got to be in the room. And so that whole thing of living and understanding that you can get your life back, you can vacation, you can dance, you can, I mean, everything. And so it came to a point to where those that were looking from the outside, when I go to the clinic, they're like, who are you here to pick up? I'm like, no, I'm to run. You know, I'm here to train. I'm here to do these different things. And so it's about showing the same thing that I come out of, how I live, and get to the point of understanding, knowing your body. It's okay to feel however you're going to feel, but you can't remain there. So if you're depressed, if you're sad, if you're hurt, if you're angry, those are stages of grief that we all going to go through, but you can't stay there. So my job as a counselor for dialysis patients is to get you from that point to living, to get your energy back, get everything back that you think that you once lost, that you thought that was over, and you can live good and have a great life while you're on dialysis. And so with the book, with the program, and also again the one-on-one, being able to counsel those who are on dialysis, because there are so many programs for people from stages 3 to 5. But then, you know, I'm like, okay, I want to be there for the ones as well who are on dialysis and feel that life is over. And my whole everything is, if you're on dialysis, all because you're on dialysis doesn't mean that your life is over. So I'm speaking, man. I'm writing. I'm helping others, even when it comes to insurance. I mean, every part of, in every stage of life, you can have it and you can live it. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm doing, man. I hope I didn't take too much time on that.
No, man, you did straight on awesome, man. That's wonderful. I love hearing a story like that, especially with the enthusiasm, Fred, you bring. I know everybody you reach feels that, you know, that inspiration. You know, you give them that energy, and that's beautiful. I want to move on to Edward Drake. Eddie's my brother, my little brother, if you will. I was with him when he got his transplant. I was in the hospital
Awesome.
with him and everything. Eddie, this question goes out to you, even though you and I kind of know each other's story and what we do because we always talk and everything. But again, what kind of things are you doing, you know, with the YNOTT Foundation and for the community and moving the needle in the right direction?
No, first and foremost, Fred, I love the energy, man. I should have ate my Wheaties before this interview because I'm leaving work all tired, and you on here with that fire. So I love it, man. God bless you, brother. But to answer Cook's question, man, I'm just an ordinary individual trying to do extraordinary things with an amazing team and taking advantage of the resources I've been blessed with. And yeah, we've done everything from for the kids, at least, from host support groups for the last 15 years, give out a lot of scholarships and mentoring, to doing work with various pharmaceutical companies to get medication changes and try to decrease prices, to recently helping to be one of the spokesmen to get that legislation passed for the immuno bill, which I was affected by 3 years post transplant. Got kicked off my insurance, so I was happy to be able to work with Congress and Senate on behalf of the the campaign slipped my mind. Like I said, I'm kind of tired, but on behalf of what's that campaign called? This campaign slipped my mind, but yeah, on behalf of this campaign to help get that legislation passed. So just doing everything I can, with all the strength that the Lord has gave me to make a difference, and working with amazing people like you all, and we're just our mission is why not impact lives. So yeah, so
Awesome. And Eddie, that's crazy because when I think back with all the stuff we've done, we worked on plays, for your story. We sold out Ohio State Stadium three times. Three times. We put on jazz foundations for pediatric transplant kids. The YNOTT Foundation has been moving the needle for the last 15 years, and I can honestly say I started with them in '08. So. And that's funny, man. We've been around the country working with pediatrics and all types of kids. So when I think about you, Eddie, I'm like, dang, Eddie has moved a lot of people in the right direction. But this goes out to Marc. Marc, man, you're an amazing dude. I love hearing your story. We interviewed you. We interviewed you a couple weeks, was it a month or so ago? I believe it was a month or so ago. Tell us what you're doing right now and everything. I know a little bit about some things you do because I still talk to you, but tell us what you're doing right now in the community.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys. You guys are all very energetic, and it's amazing to just hear it. Right? It boosts me up a little bit. You know what I mean? Because I think I got it, then I hear somebody else get it, and then it lights the lighter of the fluid that just has fluid in it, right? And then you just get that lighter, and it lights everybody else up, right? So, for those of you guys who don't know, I'm in Los Angeles. I got a kidney transplant at UCLA, and I am actually the co-host for the UCLA Core Kidney Transplant Department. And what we do is we just interview patients. We interview all the doctors on staff about immunosuppressant medications. We interview doctors, just everyone that has to deal with patient awareness, right? Because obviously there's this group, and then there's how do we ask the doctors now? And they always needed somebody to be that patient so that there can be correlations where some regular person can ask these questions to these doctors as opposed to getting to medical. It gets too medically, right? And sometimes a lot of the people who are diagnosed don't know what they're saying. What is hypertensive? What is renal? And these are some of the things, if you go through kidney disease, that you start to know very, very well. But 33 million people are diagnosed yearly with chronic kidney disease. A lot of these people don't even know what red blood cells are, what the CBCs are, how the creatinine levels work, right? So us as a community, we come in with the experience that we got, both dealing with insurance policies, dealing with biomedicine companies, because they're asking us as experts. We are now considered the experts as patients to give them the real rundown of really what it is. Oh, I get these headaches when I'm on dialysis. An average doctor won't know that. And I realized that when I went into dialysis and said, hey, I'm going through this. How can I fix this? Now, the only people that can help me out were the patients to my left and my right. And the people who were actually treating me were saying, I understand what you are going through, and I'm going to just give you something to ease that pain. But then there also comes a time where you're wanting to drink water. I didn't know this. It took me 6 months and 7 different emergency room visits that I can eat ice cubes to get my drinking habits, right? Because I loved water. As an athlete, I was drinking a lot of water just to stay in the gym and stay hydrated to box. But I started to see myself advocating for patients, right? And there's a need for that. A lot of the people want help, need help. They just don't know how to ask it. And as people like us who know the system, who understand, look, these are the things that you're going to deal with, is really appreciated. And I can tell you from on a platform like UCLA, where I'm talking to patients quite frequently, that they just need help in understanding the system, because this is everything is new to them. This is all new to them. For us, we're veterans, especially on this platform today, right? And all we have to do, I believe, is just open up our hearts. God gives us that light to shine to everybody else for those who need it, right? They said it's the light, not the darkness, that most frightens us. And a lot of people want to stay in that dark, but they need that light to look at to get that hope, right? So that's more my get down working with UCLA as the spokesperson is essentially just spreading that awareness, right? There's a need. 33 million people are diagnosed yearly. And if we can help at every stage, it sounds like everyone here has a specific stage locked down, which is really amazing, because there's 3 stages of this, right? There's a diagnosis, the dialysis, and the transplant. And all 3 of those I witnessed were 3 different support groups, right? The people who are diagnosed to stay from 3 to 5. Then I had my dialysis group where I couldn't talk to my people who were just diagnosed because they didn't understand dialysis. And some of the people who were on dialysis didn't understand transplant. So you do go through different stages when you do fight this, and to just ask those questions and put yourself out there.
That's awesome, man. And I know good and well that when you break it down like that to patients, they get an understanding, because sometimes, and I can contest to this, I was 18 when I first got sick. When the white coach came in and started talking, it was so foreign. So I would love to have had somebody like yourself, Fred, Eddie, Rich, Phil, anybody like that could help, and explain, some of the information, because it sounded like it was just going over my head at the time. So I know somebody like yourself would definitely, break down the barriers and let them understand what's going on, man. Awesome, man. Great work. I'm glad they got somebody like you because you fill a void to the fullest, man. That's awesome. Let's go to Rich.
Thank you,
Now, Rich,
sir.
I don't know too much. Yeah, Rich, I don't know too much about you, brother, but let me hear something about you, man. Let me hear what you're doing right now in the community and kidney world and things like that.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys having me on here once again. And I actually have received my transplant. It was January of 2020, and it was right before the pandemic and all the craziness. So it was funny because I actually went through my own quarantine before all of the world got quarantined. So I got a few extra weeks of practice ahead of the game before everybody else. So I had my routine down packed. But during the process, just like Marc was sharing, I connected with some people within the community, and I was a part of a group for people that were on peritoneal dialysis. And it was a great support system and a great tool to connect with people. And I connected with a brother. His name is Jason. He's actually in San Antonio as well. And we ended up going and getting our transplants about 2 weeks apart. So we met on Facebook group, found out we were both in San Antonio. We both were having transplants at University Transplant Center, and our transplants were about 2 weeks apart. And our appointments, our follow-up appointments ended up on the same day. So we met in person in the hospital after getting our transplants, and we connected, and we were seeing each other every week as we did our follow-ups. So we actually started doing a Facebook live show called Two Guys, Six Kidneys. You guys already know, when you get a kidney, I didn't know this until I got my own, that they don't actually take one out. They just give you an extra one. So, two guys, we got 3 kidneys each, 2 guys, 6 kidneys. So what we started doing is inviting other people who are in need of a kidney transplant and helping get their story out, helping get their message out, and helping spread awareness about dialysis, about kidney failure, about transplantation, and just seeing if we could do something to help some individuals. So it was great. We had a great run, but unfortunately, Jason had to go back to work after he got his transplant. He was actually blessed enough to be able to work again, and we kind of slowed down on the show. But I still connect with people each and every day through social media. I share my story with people. I'm an advocate for University Transplant Center in San Antonio to help people understand. Like, I think it was Fred that said that there is life after dialysis. Dialysis is not the end all be all, and it's a lot of people that is caught up in the dialysis lifestyle, and they believe that that's all they can do. So some of them don't even attempt to get a transplant. They don't know how much better it is on the other side. So I'm there with them and just telling them my experience and encouraging them. Listen, if you have the option to get a transplant, this is what it's done for me. Like, I have so much more energy right now. I look like a total different person. It's just a tremendous blessing. And you guys know the feeling of waking up from that operation. Although you might be in some pain from the surgery, but you instantly feel better. You feel more healthy, you feel more vibrant, you feel more energetic. And I really wish that for everybody that is going through kidney failure. So I try to just get out there, share my story, and encourage them to look at the option of getting a transplant because it is a much better life to live.
What you said was profound, and the play on words with your thing. 2 guys and 6 kidneys. That's awesome, right there. I love that, bro. That's killer. But what you said was so profound because a lot of times we get stuck in the dialysis area and don't even know how good they can really have it. And what Fred says, his book, dialysis is not your life. That says it all. And I respect all you guys and what you're doing. And I keep it real. I wish we had more guys like y'all moving the needles across this United States. But wonderful work, wonderful stuff, Rich, man. Keep doing your thing. I appreciate that so much. I got a question. Now I'm gonna start. Yeah, no problem. I'm gonna start with Fred. This is another question.
Hold real quick, Cook. Let me get one in real quick. So my question is for everybody. What are you hoping to accomplish? I'm assuming that you all set goals and admiration, things like that. It's the reason why you do what you do. You don't just get up and say, I'm just go be an advocate today, and tomorrow I'm gonna go kick rocks or something like that. There's reasoning behind what you do and why you put so much effort, time, commitment, love, things of that nature into what you do. So exactly what are you expecting to accomplish in these acts of kindness that you're doing when it to being advocates, whether you're speaking to a patient or a number of them. You may be on a show like this where you're just kind of telling your story and just try to help, or be educational, things of that nature. What are your goals that you're reaching for by being these people in the kidney community?
Is that you want me to go first?
You can. That's fine. Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. I'm gonna say this for me. It may sound crazy, but I'm looking for one. I'm trying to grab one. I mean, that's if I get more, I'm trying to fish for the one, and I'm fishing to let them know that there is hope. That's my whole thing. I'm gonna say for many of the I'm putting this way. I'm trying to get my words together because when we're on dialysis, the focus is always on the patient, and that's good. But it's beyond just the patient. It's everyone that's connected to you. It's the wife. It's the children. It's the brothers, the sisters, the parents. It's everyone. And so I remember when I had to sit down and tell my son I'm going on dialysis, and so I went over the "you can't do this" list that I was given. And man, he broke down. He was 10 years old. He broke down because I mean, as active and as passionate, as close as me and my son are, and it was like in his eyes it was over, and so it was more of all he could do was watch TV with me, and that was that was something, and for me to call an uncle or to call somebody else, can you do this? That was wearing me out. Oh my God, because that was breaking me down to a place to where everybody's going out, but me and my wife sitting here. It was just over, man. And so it's not just the hope for the patient, but when I started living my life, man, I mean the smile and the joy and the spark back in my son and football and practice in the backyard throwing. Now I couldn't throw the bomb, the 50-yard bomb, but I could throw 25. So I mean, it's those different things that you had to look at. Me and my wife, because I was on the cycler. Okay, now we went out to 12, 1 o'clock, but we started our date night like at 5. So and so to bring that spark back, getting into that gym and those different things to bring the hope. And then when I began to live, it took the worry out of my father's eyes. It took the worry out of my brothers and my sisters' eyes. It took the worry, and so everyone, I wasn't. What is it? I wasn't that sick patient, if you would. He's on dialysis. I became Fred again. I mean, I became Pooh. My nickname is Pooh, so I became Pooh again. And so that meant everything in the world to me. And so for me to be able to present and to give that to somebody else who's on dialysis or feel like their marriage is over, because again, to be a caregiver, man, that's the things that the wife go through. And so listen, but when they get that hope to know, hey, we got this and we still enjoying this and we live in this and we love this. After you hook up and after you run, hey, we're going here. After you exchange, we're going here. We got this or whatever. And so, but it gives that hope to know. And then when you throw the picture in that, hey, I'm on the list for a kidney, I'm trying to tell you, man. I mean, it's so much hope that is being given. And that's what I'm doing with dialysis is not your life, man. I just want somebody to know, man, it ain't over. You got hope. You got hope. Oh, man, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Okay.
Hey, man, I told you, don't need to apologize, brother, when you're in the space, man. We done all been through it. That's why it's a reason why it's all smart around the screen, man. We understand your enthusiasm and your drive for it, man. We've all been through it, probably half or more or half of our life.
Yeah.
You just described the earlier part of the past 12 years for me. I've been on dialysis almost 12 years. Prior to this is my second stint after my first transplant, and those first 5-6 years, that's all I was down to the dumps, in and out the hospital, staying in the room, not doing nothing, then I had to make that conscious decision. And man, you gotta get up out this house, go do something. You can't let this rule you. You gotta rule it. So
Yes.
that's when I got back up, went back to school, got back into a theater.
Wow.
Went going to school to get a degree to be a teacher as well. And a number of other things like that. And I started this podcast and been rocking with Mr. Cook. Since last year in July. I started in March,
Awesome.
but Miss Cook came on like in July or August. We've been rocking ever since. So, I get on this PD machine every night. It's already set up, ready to go. So when I get off here, all I gotta do is click and keep hit this button and keep going.
Yeah.
But you are right. It's probably the truest statement that I've heard in a long time in dialysis is not your life. And it's not. At the end of the day, you rule the dialysis, pushing the buttons and doing things. It's not like this machine just roaming around and like, hey, it's time for you to get on this machine, buddy. You know,
Right.
you get on when
Right.
you get on, right? You make
Right.
these decisions. So, hey man, again, appreciate your enthusiasm, man. Never apologize for that, man. That's what's gonna get that one person that you were talking about earlier is how you come off and present what they need to know. This information is very important. Mr. Thames, you're next, sir.
Yes, sir. And I can relate to Brother Fred, man, because it really is a special thing when you can help one person. And during our time doing our Two Guys, Six Kidneys show, we actually had a gentleman that came on the show, was on dialysis, came on the show pleading for somebody to donate for him. We actually was able to bring him back for a second time. Guess what? I found a donor, and he's actually on the list to, had his transplant schedule. Brought him back the third time post transplant. He's gotten his transplant. Things are great. His family's together. They're happy. They're smiling. And throughout our journey, just having that one success story of somebody coming full circle from being on the show, skin yellow, eyes yellow, you can tell that this brother was in bad shape, although he's out and he's working every single day because he has to provide for his family. And you guys know how draining that is, going through the dialysis process, going through life where you're experiencing kidney failure, but to still be able to get up and work every single day to provide for your family, knowing that they're depending on you, knowing that it's your life that is helping the family operate, and then to have a small part in helping that person get their life back, it is so rewarding. And I understand it because I felt the same way. I felt not like my life was over, but like it wasn't the same, and it wasn't the quality of life that I deserved and I wanted to live. So when I went through the process myself, I had to overcome a lot of extra hurdles because I was in the military and I was dealing with military doctors. And with military doctors, I was going through this process of, hey, this is my situation. This is what I'm going through. And I'm explaining to the doctor, and I'm making the steps to get put on an active transplant. And then that doctor disappears. They're gone, never to come back. Now I got a new doctor I'm trying to explain this case to, and starting all over in the process. And I had to go through that a few times before I finally said, enough is enough. I need to get a transplant. I want my life to change. And I just had to start taking more action to do that. So just because of my own experience, I understand the struggles and I understand what we go through. So if I can just help that one person get to the other side of that transplant and have a successful post-transplant life and get their life back, it is worth anything that I can do, any message that I can share. Anytime I share my story or give a testimony or point somebody in the right direction to a resource that'll help them, man, it's worth it. And that's why I do what I do.
Awesome, man. Y'all some amazing brothers, man. I know it. I say this a lot for sure, man. When I hear a story like this, it puts more fight, more fire in me, to make sure that all my stuff is taken care of and straight for a transplant thing. That's what I'm in the process now doing, is getting bliss. A couple steps away. I'm still fighting, but brothers like yourself, Mr. Drake, Mr. Coronel, man, y'all put a fire under me to just keep on a straight and narrow, not giving up. Because I mean, it gets hard. I mean, I'm 32. I've been dealing with chronic kidney disease since I was 4 years old. So this has literally been my life. So for me, I was blessed. I got a transplant at 17 years old, and it rejected 3 years later. So it put me back in this position to be on peritoneal dialysis and fighting for my life. But what put me in a position, like I mentioned earlier, those years where I was just kind of down in the dumps, it wasn't even fully kidney failure. It was the fact that I had a number of other health issues followed it once I lost that kidney. That put me, placed me in a hospital. Literally, I spent about 6 years straight of either my birthday, Christmas, Thanksgiving hospital consecutively. And my birthday is only a days from Thanksgiving. My birthday is November 23rd. So it's always the week of Thanksgiving. And from 2010 to about 2015, 2016, I was in a hospital bed for those holidays. It just, it never, 2016 was the last one, I think, of that consecutiveness. And, it actually brought out something good. My parents were divorced when I was 2. That was the first time probably since then that we sat in the same place at the same time and had dinner together.
Wow.
Because of a sickness, because of me being sick in the hospital, brought something like that together. I'm hurting, got 4 chest tubes in my back, but I'm smiling just because of something that's as simple as that. So, hey man, y'all, again, thank you, for who you guys are. Mr. Drake, what's going on, sir?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Well, awesome. Sorry, my sound bouncing from different earphones to iPads and everything else, but yeah, but good, but definitely, man, truly amazing and inspiring stories. My journey of kidney failure and what I want to accomplish was just a little different. When I got diagnosed, it was just like, darn, not again. Having to overcome so many adverse situations from birth and overcoming it to being young and dealing with different issues, and the doctor didn't know I was going to make it, to having asthma, and then I go from not being able to play sports to being one of the best student athletes in Ohio coming out, and then go for coming from a single parent household, and still wanting to get my mother out that tough situation, and then here I am at the pinnacle, so-called pinnacle. Then got my way to school, about to be the first college graduate in my family, getting to pursue my dream to play ball, and now I get hit with kidney failure, and I'm like, Lord, not again, so of course I said, why me? Why now? And it's just, and I never would have thought that the man above would have said, why not you? And would have turned a negative situation in my 3 years on dialysis into a positive. Really, my dialysis situation was a blessing in disguise for me. Like I said, I really don't have any horrible. My stuff was more social, like what I've lost. Man, I had to leave school. I had to move back home with my mama, which, I worked so hard to get out that situation. So, but once I started going around and volunteering at the children's hospital and seeing these kids who were in worse situations, reminded me of myself from coming from humble beginnings, and seeing these kids who were looking up to me in sports and looking up to me in school, like, man, I want to be like you. And, and same thing with me when I was going through my whole kidney struggle. Like, I was going to these hospitals, and myself and my team, or my fellow team members, and they were looking at us like superheroes. So it gave me a sense of purpose. So, and that's what kept me, they thought I was brightening their day, but they was really brightening my day. They was really helping. They gave me a sense of purpose when I had lost everything, when the women had went away, when when everybody went from looking at me in a heroic manner to feeling sorry for me. So that kind of, that's tough at 21 years old. So I go from taking off my shirt and having 8 packs to now I got tubes, women feeling on my chest and feeling tubes. What is that? And like, don't worry about that. Focus on, focus on the mood, focus on that key sweat, focus on that key sweat, on the key sweat on the radio, stuff like that. And, it's so I know my whole thing was just to overcome that. I was going to persevere through that and show these kids and show people in general what you can overcome. So that's why, while I'm passionate about kidney disease, I was always so focused on not letting it stop me. Like, man, forget it. I wasn't going to let my neighborhood, I was going to let my father being addicted, he was addicted, to my family coming from these. It wasn't going to stop me. And I'm darn sure not going to let this kidney failure stop me. And that's kind of was my mentality. So I went to dialysis on war. I was packed up, I had my YNOTT cape on. My YNOTT gave me hope. So it's kind of like, so once I got my transplant, I could have went off and I got offered to go do all sorts of stuff. I done worked in professional sports, then got films with credits. I done made a lot of money doing a lot of different things, but my passion was still with the organization and just in general, and working with these companies to try to create a difference. So moving forward, I still just want to do the will of God. I know that God, this is just yet another platform to be able to, to that people can look up to me and look up to people who I work with and collaborate with that say, if they can do it, if he can do it, why not me? And, I want to take that same model, not only in kidney failure, but since this is health month, but put it to anything. So single parents, implement that same model in everything. So in short, I just want to do the will of God and continue to, impact as many lives as possible and, and make a difference. Like I said, I just lost a brother, and nothing was worse than seeing him at 30 years old laying up in that coffin and can't move. So I just said, shoot, while I got breath in my body, when it's my time to lay there, I just want to know I gave it all I had. I got every ounce of energy, and I just did the will of God. So that's it, man. I just want to do the will of God in short. So.
Awesome.
Me and were met 2018 at the transplant games, and I remember when we were sitting there having this conversation, he was kind of explaining what YNOTT was. I went into an awe because, like I said, I was 4 years old. I'd have been laid up in the hospital, 2.5 consecutive months at a time, biopsies and things that day. I had to go home on dialysis as a kid, things of that nature. And before I met him, that time before that, between about 2010, right before I got sick to then, I've been trying to work with a number of organizations on the pediatric side. And nobody gave me the chance today until Edward did. And I took it and I ran with it. 2019 since I've been working with the YNOTT Nation and Edward and Faro, Wills, Victoria, the crew, Archie, and it's been an amazing experience to be able to see or hear because of COVID, which kind of messed up everything. Because COVID hit soon as I started making things happen. I was like, man, I'm trying to get in here and talk to these kids and see some smiles going on, and y'all want to shut stuff down with y'all. I don't mind walking in with a bubble suit if I have to. Just want to see some kids smile. I know how that feels. I grew up without knowing people that had organ failure. For you to be, like Mr. says, on that island where you feel like it's just you. You're the only one that's there that's dealing with this. Ain't nobody else around. Ain't nobody yelled to. Ain't nobody to whisper to. Ain't nobody to write a letter to. It's just you. You are the only person that you can conversate with about this retarded that you're dealing with. And this is why I kind of, I actually feel sorry for adults that have to get these diseases, because 9 times out of 10, the one thing that always is in common in these stories is, man, I didn't even know what the doctor was talking about. By my diagnosis and stuff like that, right? I was diagnosed I grew up with it. So it was an appointment every month and learning all at the same time. I'm 10, 11 years old, coming home from a doctor, I'm having a full conversation on drinking water and changing my diet with my dad. Because I had that time to learn about it and know, what to do, what not to do, how to change things. And it's still stuff I don't know. I'm not perfect. I'll be the first to tell you. I had a addiction the other day. I'm talking to Cook literally almost every day, man, trying to get this phosphorus down. I'm trying to, get this potassium up. Or I'm dealing with this calcium. He's like, man, do this, do that. Or I'm calling my dietitian like, look, this goddamn phosphorus ain't going down. I need to figure out something. Like I'm dealing with low potassium, high phosphorus. How much does that make? At none, right? So even at 32, I'm still learning. I definitely, man, got to take my hats off to dudes like Mr. Cook, Edward. The rest of you gentlemen that had to, kind of go into this thing blind. You just like go to the doctor, like, hey man, checkup time. All right, cool. We got a problem here, brother. You really still like not expecting to hear that you got a problem. You feel good. You don't notice that your fatigue is setting in, and these changes that happen to you because it hasn't technically happened yet, but they only caught it because of blood work. So again, man, your fights, man, and determination for what you're trying to is admirable, man, 100%. Mr. Coronel, the kidney fire, brother, man, definitely a true definition of a fighter. What about yourself, sir? You on mute?
The question was my why, right?
Yes.
Here's what I learned, and I prior to getting on dialysis, I was a wellness consultant for motion picture companies. And what I learned was a healthy person has 1,000 wishes, but a sick person has one. And I would listen to working with people in their job, and then I would listen to people going to my dialysis, because I too was that person that needed to provide, right? And you would hear these people complain about the smallest things, but then you hear, the people who are fighting for my life, man, all I need is that one kidney. All I need is my health. In the process that I went through that, man, I realized that hope is not a strategy. Luck is not a factor, and failure is not an option. Because hope can only wake you up, but that strategy is you making those calls to that hospital. Luck is not a factor unless it plays that you keep making those phone calls to make things happen. When I say, well, you utilize social media to get a kidney transplant, I really did. But I had to dig in deep in myself so that people can say, damn, I feel that. And it's the crazy thing about that whole thing was people were like, I found my purpose watching this man's story. I want to give this man my kidney because now I find out that this is what I'm going to do in life. How do we get that out of people who say my ego is blocking me from doing that? That's where I have to come into play and play that psychological factor of people aren't going to feel sorry for you because they want to help. They just don't know how. They don't know about donation. They don't know about education. They don't know about anything about a kidney transplant. They don't know you can live without one kidney, right? So those are the key things that I tend to do. And to be honest with you, man, dealing with a lot of these people in the higher ups and listening to the people coming in, they really don't know about the healthcare system. Right. Someone like you who's 4 years old, who was diagnosed. I was diagnosed at 26. I got through into the deep end with no scuba diving gear, none of that stuff. So at that point, I needed to learn how to put that on while I was on dialysis. The thing about boxing was it showed me discipline, but dialysis showed me patience. Right. And through the process of this, you have to be patient with yourself, because you can lose your mind 3 to 4 hours a day hearing those signs, watching the fire department come through. You have to be patient, and that's where you recreate yourself. They say what success can't show you, rock bottom can. When you get on that chair, you'll start learning how to really sew yourself back up, right? How to really stitch yourself back up. This is that muscle group. This is how that works. These are the things that I was compiling while I was on dialysis. Though I didn't write a book or do a blog, I took a lot of the notes that was really like the sorrow that you can see. You can look at every one of our eyes and you can see the sorrow, but you see the fight and you see the grit is there no matter what. They say the hardest struggle brings the brightest smile. Every single one of us smiled through this whole process, and I appreciate everybody for doing it, because we've all gone through something traumatic. That test became a testimony, and that's what moves the mountains. They say the highest act of human form is to inspire, and gentlemen, that's what we are doing here today. And with that is my go-to when asked what my why is, because we need to share that. We need to share that information. Remember that a healthy person has 1,000 wishes and a sick person has one. And we all know what that means. We all know what that means, right? And it's the same thing. It doesn't change. That's something in life with health that it doesn't change. That one wish to get healthy. How can we do that to help them?
Wow.
Hey,
I'm gonna tell you. Go ahead, Ms. Hill.
Hey, I just wanted to say something, if you didn't mind, Philip. You was talking about saying that, you take your hats off to all of us, things that we're doing and how we're moving and shaking and however, man. But I just got to flip that right quick, man. I got to take my hat off to you, man. If you look at everybody's on here, man, we got kidney transplant rolling, we doing, man. And for me, I didn't start moving like this until after the transplant. So, man, I want to just take a moment, man, to celebrate you, man. You moving wild while you own, while you're doing, man. I got to celebrate you, man. You said when this is over, you just got to click and move on, man. How many people are doing what you're doing? And so, and one thing you said you don't have all the answers. You don't have all the answers, and however you're 30 plus years old, man. But I just want to tell you that you are an answer. What you're doing right now, man, is the answer to so many people, man, and who you working with and the heart and desire that you have, man. I just want to take this moment. I know this is probably off the page, man, but, man, I just got to encourage you, man, for what you're doing, man. And man, hats off to you, man. Kudos, however you want to say it, man. I appreciate you, what you're doing, man. I really do, man. I just want to tell you thank you, man, for what you're doing, man, and keep moving, because your day coming. It's coming, man. The same thing, like you said, the kid, it happened for us, man. It's gonna happen for you, man. And what you're doing is no limits. That's what I speak over your life, man. No limits, man. And everything that God has for you, every door that God has for you, man. I pray that you walk in it, man, and that people's lives will be changed by what you do for people, man. God is gonna reward you for what you're doing right now. I just wanted to say that, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that 100%. For sure. But it is definitely people like you five gentlemen that are on the screen that push me to do what I do. I want to get to that point where I'm like you all with this transplant again and making things. And I have other dreams and things like that I have on hold because of my dialysis. We can still travel whatnot, but there still are some limitations that we have to be considerate of and things of that nature. But the fight doesn't stop. I say that often. It's like Mr. Coronel. You take that step, you throw that punch. So the fight is real. Like you said, man, 33 million people deal with chronic kidney disease every year. It's not something that we need to take lightly. It's something that we need to continuously educate people on. It's one of the main reasons why we just had the dialysis conference that Mr. Hill was a part of, that me and Mr. Cook, Mr. Trailer collaborated on and putting together, was because people need to know. I don't want them to have to figure it out 2 years into dialysis. I want them to know before they get to that point, so know how to go into it and continue to keep living, keep living, and keep doing what they need to do to keep their life going. But real quick to end my question, man. One thing I definitely, and again, Mr. Hill, man, I appreciate kind words, man. I definitely appreciate them. Like I said, the fight doesn't stop. So, but some things the one thing I took away from Mr. Coronel was discipline and patience. Discipline and patience is key to the whole thing. It doesn't matter where you get diagnosed at, It doesn't matter when you have a transplant. If you can't be disciplined, you're not gonna make it, because you have to be disciplined enough to be able to uh, make sure you're taking those medications on time, making sure your environment, if you're on peritoneal dialysis, uh, is clean, or home hemo, is clean the way it needs to be clean. You putting in your orders when you need to, making your appointments when you need to, do your labs when you need to, if you got to cut some beef out your system, you just got to make that decision and cut some beef out your system, right? And patience, man, patience is technically going to be your best friend, because, like me, I was 12 years on dialysis. I'm not gonna lie to you. In the very, very beginning, when I was dealing with all that nonsense, I was sick. It got to the point where I told myself, I don't care. It is what it is. It just, if it happens, it happens. And then it got to the point where I told myself, no, and this is why it's not happening, because of where my mindset was, because I wasn't fighting, because I wasn't thriving, because I wasn't moving, doing something to try to move the needle. These things that I've been doing, consistently, whether it's kidney related or not, is what's moving me to get to where I am now. Right? In 2019, I had a parathyroid ectomy where they removed my thyroid out of my neck. I was dealing with some number issues with my labs. Had that procedure, everything changed. Could have the procedure done like before then, but it was some information my doctor left out that I didn't know about. I would have been like, yeah, take all this out of here. I don't care what you get. But I had that happen. My numbers got back in range of where they wanted to see it. Early last year, my calcium finally got in range of where it needs. That was the only thing I was dealing with that was really an issue. And then that's when my doctor gave me the okay to move forward, with doing what I need to do to get on the list. So now at this point, all I'm waiting on is my labs next month to come back. If those in the range it needs to be in, I go to evaluation. I'm not worried about it from that point on. Once me an evaluation, I'm knowing good, because I know how my doctors are. I know how my team is. They care. They're not gonna put me in a position. Okay, yeah, go ahead, go to evaluation, and my numbers look like crap. It's gonna be automatic no. I have a great support system and things like that, so I'm not worried about that in medical. So once they tell me that there's the evaluation, I'm a happy camper, because at that point I know, I'm not gonna get denied. I'm definitely not getting denied, because I said no to this COVID vaccine. Now I went on ahead and got my shots. As soon as they called me, I was like, "No, you can get me in trouble. I'm cool. Go ahead, poke. All right, go on." So it's this decisions, man, is probably the top two things that are at the they're at the top of the list when it comes to dealing with kidney failure, but just life-threatening diseases in general. Cancer, lupus, anything like that. Patience and discipline is going to get you through it. And love and support out there. It goes without being said. So, Mr. Cook, you got another question? I know you do.
Yes.
That was a good question. But
Wonderful.
what's your next question? I should have said.
Like everybody said, man, wonderful stuff. But I want to move on to this question right here, and I'm gonna start with Rich first. Rich, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you this: what was that moment when you was on dialysis? Because I'm gonna keep it real. When I was on there was a time where I was feeling sorry for myself. I was kind of low and depressed. What was that
Mm-hmm.
moment where you said, "Nah, hell no, I got to step up and I got to be me"? What was that moment? That prolific moment where you go, "Ugh, I got to do what I got to do." Go ahead, let's talk about that.
Man, that's a great question. And to be honest with you, I don't remember what sparked that moment. I don't remember what triggered it, but I remember just having that feeling that like I can't sit back and let the fact that these doctors keep on changing and all this stuff keep on changing, because it was discouraging, because it seemed like, I'm taking 3 steps forward and then I take 10 steps backwards, and then I take 5 steps forward and then I take 9 steps backwards, and it was like, man, all right, I don't want to continue to go through this cycle. So it was like, all right, I have to do something. And it probably was, as I go through it in my mind, it probably was one of those scenarios where I'm going to an appointment and I'm looking at a doctor that I don't know and telling my story all over again and starting this case all over again. So what I ended up doing is I contacted, it was a patient advocate I just happened to see a sign or something for patient advocacy, somebody that's there to kind of help on our behalf. And I called this lady up. I'll never forget. I said, listen, this is what I'm going through, and I'm sick and tired of going through these emotions where I'm not getting the help that I need. I'm not making any progress in this, and I've been doing this for a while, and I'm sick and tired of it. And she was like, baby, I'm gonna take care of you. And she sure did. She made sure that she got me in touch with the right people to get my paperwork taken care of so I can actually get the appointments that I needed to get put on that active transplant list. And I remember it because I started documenting the process. I started, just posting pictures on my Facebook page of, hey, I'm at this appointment, and, I'm this step closer and this step closer, and taking trips to the different transplant centers. And I still remember getting that notification that I'm on the active transplant list. And that was like a boost for me. And once I got on that active transplant list, I said, all right, now it's up to me. I can't blame anybody else for what I'm doing. And just like Marc did, I use social media. So I went straight to Facebook. I created a post that had my picture on there. It had my information, my date of birth, my name, my blood type, exactly where to go to donate, exactly what you needed to do. I had on there the people that were dying every single day waiting for a transplant, and over 1,500 of my friends shared it. So it got shared over 1,500 times just from my friends, but that started it. And it's crazy because I ended up doing something stupid. Like, Marc, I'm a boxer too. I like boxing. I like UFC. And I was watching a UFC fight, and I shared the fight on my Facebook page. So Facebook shut my Facebook page down for 30 days. I was in Facebook jail for 30 days, right when I was starting to get traction, getting my transplant. Now, y'all laughing now. I'm laughing now, but it wasn't funny at the time. It wasn't funny at all. I'm like, yo, I got to get this transplant. So then what I did, I created T-shirts, and I put the same information on T-shirts and started selling those T-shirts, and ended up starting a business from that because I saw, man, it's simple for me to make these shirts and just sell them online. But what I did is I put it out there. I took action. I went to work, and I said, you know what, God gonna do what he gonna do, but I got to do what I can do. So I couldn't let Facebook shut everything down, and just because they shut it down, I'm not doing anything. So I got out there and started promoting. And when I got to the transplant center, got on the active list, they said, okay, for your blood type, your average wait time is about 3 to 5 years. And lo and behold, I got my transplant 5 months later. So it didn't take me 3 to 5 years. It took me 5 months because I was sick and tired. I took action, and I was serious about, I'm going to get a transplant and I'm going to get it soon. And my donor actually saw it from those Facebook posts. He kept on seeing them. And that's what got him to actually step up and see if he can donate to me.
Wow, man, and sometimes we crucify social media, but you and Marc, worked it to your behalf on a good level of that, man, and that's cool.
Man,
Like you
social
said,
media is amoral. It's not good. It's not bad. You can use it for good. You can use it for bad. It's a
exactly.
tool. It's a tool, and it's all about how we use it. And it's been a great tool for me to get that transplant and make sure that I was taken care of, and God set that up, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And then you became an entrepreneur selling shirts and stuff. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Some of these things like this, it motivates you to move in ways you never thought you'd be moving. Like sometimes I even question myself like that. God, you got me in this space, and all right, I'm just gonna go with it. You said be in this space, and I'm gonna be in this space, and that's how it works. Fred, this question is for the same thing for you. What was that moment where you started like, okay, I'm gonna write a book, I'm gonna do this, where you just got pumped up? Because like I said, I felt that depression at one time, and I told Phil, Phil, I felt like I was on an island, for over a decade on dialysis. That's mine. But let me ask you, what was that moment, that one moment where you said, "Oh, I'm doing it." You're muted, Phil. I mean, Fred, you're muted.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Okay. I keep muting myself, man, because I don't want no background noise if somebody else is talking, man. I got to show that respect. But the thing for me, man, I can't say I remember the exact moment. I think I'm kind of, I'm a backtrack for a minute because, I got, I had a nephrologist that told me that I would have to have 7 surgeries for a kidney transplant. 7. So it would be 7 surgeries, cutting and removing and doing all this is what she told me.
Is this
So she
before your transplant? Is this before your
7.
transplant?
She's
Wow.
yes.
What was
She
the
said
reason?
I will give her name, man, but I'm not. She's not practicing anymore. But she told me 7. Okay, so the thing is, I'm new. I'm new to this dialysis thing, man. So I'm already scared, you know what I'm saying? But I'm terrified of needles and blood and all this stuff anyway. So I'm in here, and when I got transferred to her, and so she said, I'm sitting here asking all these questions about that, about the kidney transplant, all different things, man. And so she told me it would be 7 surgeries, man. And she painted this picture that actually terrified me. So when you said about the depression part, so it was more of I don't want to go through 7 surgeries. I mean, and I'm just like, it was so scary the way that she told me there was no hope coming from her. And so to me, it was like, what do you believe in, Hill? Because this dialysis thing is hard, you know what I'm saying? And then this right here seems like this is going to be extremely hard. And 7 surgeries for this. And one thing that I'm hearing, so it took a place. So I was depressed, man. Like I said, for about a year because I didn't see myself coming out of it. And so I guess continuing to hear myself tell my son, I can't. He said, Dad, can we throw the ball? Dad, can we do this? Dad, can you go over here? Dad, can we go? I mean, and he would bring this up. And I remember the time saying, well, son, I can't because I'm on that. And that look that was on his face, man, it was that look said, man, you got to do something. And so I went to another doctor. I said, man, listen, does it really take 7 surgeries? He was like, who told you that? So I'm gonna kind of flip for a moment. Man, I know this is gonna sound bad. I might go to Facebook jail for this or Restream jail. But what doctor is giving us the wrong information that we're living on and putting us in a deeper depression to make us feel that we can't get out? So, and one thing that I teach all the time is your life is in your own hands. Your life is not up to your doctor. It's not, it's up to you. I mean, the thing is, I tell that all the time. You need to learn your own body, know what's going on in your own body. It's like a doctor to me is like a lawyer. I don't go in like I'm the baby and I can't speak for myself and they got to probe and do. No, when I take this medicine to make me feel this way, when I do this right here, when I go here, this right here. So the thing is, I'm saying, so I need you to do this for this. Do this for this, do this for this. And so it's that mentality. And so I had to do something. I said, okay, I'm going to change my dreams. I want my son to see that he can go for his dream. Man, I got to acting on stage. I was in a play called Church Folk with Leon from the Fire Heartbeats. Y'all might be too young for that. But Leon for the Fire Heartbeats. So I'm on the play with him. And so I wanted my son to see these different things. I wrote a book that was called Take Me to the Water of Being Your Best You, that you got God has placed everything inside of you to be your best you and not trying to be your greatest you, because we try to, if you're looking to be the best, that means you are competing with everybody else. But the thing is, I can be my greatest and never compete with you at all. So learning to be great. And so all this thing changed in my life, man. And I said, okay, I got to learn how to live, get your life back. But it was that moment, man. I remember just so many no's and that I can't. And I didn't want to say I can't no more. I didn't want to say that to my son. No, I can't, son, I can't because I'm on dialysis. Man, that meant dialysis was my life. That's why I gave all that power to dialysis. Man, I'm telling you, wow. And that mindset, like the brother was talking earlier, it's in that mind to say, listen, I can, even though I'm on dialysis. Listen, I'm going to put it this way, and this is going to sound harsh. Figure it out. Sometimes we got to figure it out for ourselves because you're not going to get the answer you want from the doctor sometime or from this person, whatever, man. Figure it out. If you got to go to another place, stream, Google, what we doing right now, figure it out. Get your life back, man, because it's there. And I just, if anybody is saying that right now, I can't because I'm on dialysis, man, cancel that tonight. You should say, I can, even though I'm on dialysis. Find a way.
I receive that, brother. I receive that. You know, that's
Hey,
amazing because sometimes we give dialysis our power, you know, and we use that as a big excuse. I can't do this because of dialysis. I can't. You know, that's funny. You know, my dad was a great role model in my life, and I still do to this day. I work on old school cars. That's just one of my hobbies, motorcycles and cars. And I remember I used to come in the house sometime. I go, Dad, you know, I put the distributor on it. He go, figure it out. And, you know, that goes back to that where sometimes you just got to figure things out. You know, that's what you got a brain for. And awesome story, man. Awesome way to do things.
hey,
Fred. That's amazing.
Mr. Cook,
Yeah.
real quick, if I may, I want to touch on something Mr. Hill said real quick. I ain't gonna be long. Sometimes it's not wrong information because in reality it's educational, right? It's in the book. It's truth to what they're telling you.
Not seven
What the
surgeries.
issue is now that
I work with doctors, and I ain't never heard nobody go through 7 surgeries for a transplant. I've never heard.
well, I'm not even saying necessarily that. I'm just saying into that statement that he was saying about, you know, how much wrong information we're getting. Not necessarily is it wrong information. It just may be wrong information for you. As in, you know, we talk about this. You know, doctors to learn how to listen to patients, especially ones that have dealt with certain obstacles. You know, a certain amount of time. If they come to you and say, you know, my body does X, Y, Z when it has, you know, ABC, y'all need to learn how to listen to what we telling you, not going off on your own little rants and raves and, you know, oh, I'm the doctor and I'm high and mighty, I'm gonna give you this because I said this is what's gonna work. If I'm telling you it don't work, it don't work. But that also falls on you on being your own advocate and speaking up when it's needed. You know, when you hear something that don't go right with you, say something. You know, get the second opinion. A number of people have gotten second. That is your right to get his opinion from a doctor. Is to, you know, to make sure that you're getting the right care. You know, for your primaries. You know, you don't want to just, you know, oh, okay, go do what you gotta do, and then you end up, you know, paralyzed or something stupid like that because the doctor missed something. You know, if you get that tingling in the back of your neck and you like hairs are standing up, well then, you know, do what you gotta do. You know, get those confirmations and things like that. So it's not necessarily that it's wrong information. That situation was definitely wrong. I would definitely agree with that. And God dang, 7 surgeries gonna be needed.
I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree that was a problem also, especially when you got somebody new to dialysis. You know, and then you paint a picture. You know, he could feel the energy of the doctor painting a picture of loom and gloom. You know, he knows the right from wrong. You could tell somebody's energy. This man knew what was going on. I work with doctors. Eddie could tell you. I work with plenty of doctors. You know, in this procedure. I've been going through this since '87. I'm older than all you guys in this field. And I'm saying I never heard a doctor ever tell anybody you're gonna have to have 7 surgeries before your transplant. That's kind of crazy right there. I'm just gonna say that. But this goes to Eddie. And Eddie, I just want to ask you right now, what was that defining moment? You know, when you was at your lowest point, like, you know what, I'm coming out. I'm putting on my YNOTT cape and I'm doing what I got to do. Let's hear about that.
Man, like I said earlier, I'm just a why not beat the odds type person, you know? Like my whole life was a struggle, so this was nothing new. This was just kidney failure was just something like I said, that I had to face at that point. So when I got sick, like I said, 19, 20 in college, and like I said, to go from moving from go to the college that I was at in Michigan to go back home 6 months later, being at home, I was like, "Ma, I gotta go." She trying to get me signed up for the different housing around the city and stuff like that I could get Social Security. I'm like, I'm good. I went up to Ohio State where one of my best friend lived. I stayed on his floor. Did dialysis, and I just remember since I had to leave school while I was doing dialysis, but they were still living at college campus. I'm like, man, I'm still up there playing football with those dudes, giving those dudes the business. You know what I mean? While I was on dialysis, taking pride. I'm like, if I can't play ball, I'm about to get these dudes the business. I said, I'm about to get the girls, that the athletes, and everybody else was. I'm telling you, I was down there like on a mission. I'm like, man, I'm more like a slogan that we got now, more than a transplant patient. I'm like, man, I'm going through this, and I'm about to throw the parties. I was down there throwing parties. I was down there doing everything because I was like, I'm not gonna be looked upon as. Don't feel sorry for me. Feel sorry for you. You know what I mean? Why not me? You know what I mean? Like now, my for-profit company called Why Not Me? Why Not Me Enterprises? I can do whatever I wanted to do. So that was kind of my mindset. You know me, Cook. Shoot, we was talking about hosting our first football tournament, and somebody was telling me to go to the high school. Why not the shoe? Why not the Ohio State Stadium? Next thing I know, what was we doing, Cook? What was we doing? Hosting football tournaments at the Ohio State. Didn't even go to a game yet, but renting out the stadium. So still to this day, I said, why not me? Like,
pediatric transplant kids all throughout.
You know what I'm saying?
Had the news there.
Still.
We did it 3 years straight. We did it big. And
You know what I'm saying?
For real, Eddie. When you said that to me, I looked at you. Look, you was crazy, but you was like, "Look, man, let's do the shoe." And you looked at me, and I looked at you, and I knew you was for real. And I was like, "Okay, I'm just gonna start putting this together." And it happened. It happened in a big way. You're right.
Man, you already know. So, like I said, shit, when you come from nothing. Shit, when you come from drinking Kool-Aid, man. We some of the most courageous, some of the most. Look at our ancestors, man. You know, if they can do it, who on like I just did a speech on Black History Month, upon whose shoulders, who paved the way for us. And I mean, if they can do it, why not us? Why can't we? Why can't we overcome this kidney? If they was able to overcome slavery, get hit with switch, and to give us this platform to be able to do what we're doing, kidney disease is just a platform. It don't got to define you. You know, it's like, so that's just been my mentality since I was a kid. You know, like I said, and will continue to be. Like I said, I tell these kids and I tell people who listen, but I specialize in kids because they're still very impressionable, a lot of them. But man, you can do whatever you want to be. Don't use this as a platform. You know what I mean, to propel you to your greatness. So I'm done. But yeah. I'm done.
I respect that, Eddie. And it's funny, Eddie, because I remember the one time you and I were putting on a big fundraiser at the big church Coliseum in Columbus, and the lady came to us and was mad at us, told us that we can't have our program. And I'm looking at this lady like, we just spent so much money. We got these kids we got people come from all over the country to our organization, for these pediatric transplant kids. And the lady told us no. Man, we went backstage with her, was like, nah, this is happening, lady. You don't know what you're talking about. And we had to get in her tail and let her know, like, look, we got too much to lose right here. We got pediatric kids who need transplants, and these kids got to be recognized and all this stuff. And she came to us. They're like, okay, we're going to do this. But awesome, Eddie. I know how you get down, brother. You motivated me to do a whole bunch of things too. And I thank you. I appreciate that. And Marc, this question goes to you right now, Marc. Not last, but not least at all. But again, what was that moment when you was depressed and you just said, "Hold on, man, I'm coming out this shell. I'm a fighter. I am the fighter." What was that moment? Let's talk about that.
That moment was the moment I got on dialysis. There was no question. I think dialysis shows you something very different of yourself. Everything just really goes out the drain. You can't complain really much because your left and your right are also dying as well. They're in this. We're all confined to a chair, and I can't say, "Oh my God, my day's going bad," because homeboy has diabetes and is going blind on his right eye slowly. I can't talk to my person on the left and say, "Man, how's your day going?" And you can see that he was amputated 2 days ago, trying to heal from being a diabetic patient. So I learned how to observe more and really hone in on my depression, with mental struggle. Your struggles don't seem as bad because no matter what the problem is, my left and my right had a harder battle. So I was never ever in that complaining state. It was just like, dang man, I can't even complain because all I have is kidney disease. And there were other people with other underlying health conditions that are like, oh, this is just the icing on the cake. Dialysis is just, I got heart failure, so I can't get a kidney transplant. I mean, there was a lot of factors that I had to really hone in, where I just needed to just say, you know what, I gotta move silently. I gotta move without complaining. I gotta move and just keep focused to that journey, because it's hard to complain in a situation where everyone's fighting for their life, right? You don't. There's no right. I mean, you're not. No one. Everyone in there is dealing with the exact same situation. There's no harder problem, lesser problem. We're fighting for our lives right now. We're all losing our skin color. We're all losing our liquids at the same time. We're all getting that headaches the moment we get out. We're all getting that cramp the moment they take too much liquid. And it became a habit, right? You walk in, hey guys, I'm here. You go in to weigh yourself. I'm 56 kilos. I'm going down to 63. That was a routine for me. How's your health going? But one of the real key things is the way people looked at me when I was fighting for my life. The moment I got on dialysis, it was, how are you doing? How's your health? And that was something that was really hard for me because it would be the same conversation. How's your health? How's your health? And for me, I was already fighting for my life, right? And I didn't want to be reminded of the hardship that I was going through. I wasn't urinating. I was like a crackhead, always itching myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're constantly doing this because either I'm not taking too much phosphorus pills. So a combination of all of that, right? It literally took me 6 months. I mean, being back and forth from the ER and just saying, dang, man, I got to buckle down and be patient with myself and really try to get out of this. So I think it was like literally 6 months into my treatment. Just to observe certain things that I never witnessed before, right? I mean, it was very foreign. So not urinating was a really hard one for me because everyone was like, so I have to explain that to everybody every single day. Like, well, what is it not like urinating in the morning? I'm like, man, all I do is take a dump and I'm good to go, They didn't understand what that was, right? Now I wake up, I'm like ready to go to the bathroom, and they said, "What are you most grateful for?" And I say, "I'm grateful for urinating because I didn't get to do that, right?" And my dialysis chair sat right next to where all the water would come out, and I'm thinking, "Damn, this is everybody's liquid right now coming down that tube," So that was my moment. The moment like no urine came out. I mean, it was like a drop of a teardrop that was really coming out. And a lot of people don't realize that on dialysis, one of the first things that go out is you urinating. So, that was my moment right there, man.
Right. That's awesome, man. Yeah, it does slow down, just like you said. And I'm glad you brought that up, man, because I remember, I was young when I was on dialysis. And my friends, we would go out to the club and everything, and they was drinking 40s back in the day, because that's how old I am. And they would get out the car and take a piss and everything, and I'd be sitting in the car like, dang, I can't wait till I can do that. Once I got my kidney, I was like, yeah, I'm staying out here with the fellas. I'm happy to say that I could just, people took that for granted, and I couldn't take that for granted. And just like you said, man, I go to the toilet right now, and I'm still happy, like, oh, okay, I don't take that for granted. But I don't have any more questions. It's a time frame thing. Phil has the last questions. Thank you, fellas. I appreciate it. Way to move. Way to do your thing. Go ahead, Phil. Take it away.
It's funny that y'all bring it up because I deal with that consistently because I don't urinate. So it's like people walk around like, I gotta go piss, I gotta go pee. And I'm like, man, shut up. I don't want to have to listen to you talk about you gotta go pee. I can't go do it. I don't want to hear about you going to go do it over here flaunting because you can go pee. Get out of my face. But my last question, man, we're gonna wrap this up. I got an announcement to make after this, but I want to hear what was the reaction, and how did things go from your support family perspective? You know, everybody's support family is different. Their number is different. Some have a lot, some have a little, some work with what they got. You know, how did your families and stuff take that news when you had to call them and say, "Hey, you know, I'm going to kidney failure. I'm, you know, possibly need dialysis. You know, need a transplant at one point." Like, what did they think? How did they react? You know, what did they do? You know, or some people just like, you know, we're gonna do what we gotta do, get it done, and transplant. And this it's an important question why I'm even taking the time because when I was younger, that's all I had to keep me fighting was my family. You know, being in a hospital and things of that nature, you know, even though my parents were divorced, they still raised me like they were together. They did their job as parents. So I was blessed in that area. You know, I know not everybody is blessed. You know, I mean, I'm sitting there looking at you know, Mr. Drake. You know, he living in the situation that he lived in and still prevailed to who he is now. You know, I don't know the rest of your parental statuses and things of that nature, but you know, when it comes to your family, if you was married, got kids, you know, close friends stepped up, whatever the case may be. Real quickly, just kind of, you know, elaborate on that, Mr. Hill. I'll start with you.
Okay, all right. I was sitting thinking about that, man. That was real heavy. For me, um, I'm not the oldest in my siblings. I'm the second from the youngest, but I've always been um, the go-to, if that's the word. So if something happened, it was call poo, whatever. Um, and so, with my sister had already died with kidney disease, polycystic, and then I'm looking at my brothers is I didn't want to tell no one, so I went from the time I was diagnosed with polycystic, and I wasn't saying anything because I didn't want to, I guess, to cause issues. Because my daddy done lost a sister, a mama, and a daughter. So I mean, it's one of those things, man. That was kind of hard for me. So reality, I didn't tell. My wife was the only one I told. My son didn't know until the time that moment that I told you guys. And so uh, I was already scheduled to go on dialysis and all of that. And so one night, um, one night I was upstairs and I had fallen asleep because you know you're tired all the time. So my wife called me downstairs, and so when I come downstairs, my brothers and my sister, um, they were here. I had one, my brother in North Carolina, and then one in here in Spartanburg. And then I went, and they said, "Well, I went into the another room in my house, and my brother from New Jersey was in there, man." And all I can tell you, man, I broke down. I broke down. So that was the first time, because I've always been that arm of strength, if you would, for the family. Um, and it was such a, I guess, a relief to understand I didn't have to be. I don't want to what is it? I'm trying to contradict myself, but I didn't have to be that one that carry that weight. I was able um, to get it off of me, and at that moment, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. When you're at that point, to have a moment where you don't have to carry it, I think that was the blessing for me that my brothers, I'm about to start crying, and I'm sorry. My brothers, they made this trip for me. I guess that, and they came for me. You know your brothers and sisters, they love you, your fathers, whatever. But that moment when I didn't tell anyone, but my wife called, and they came for me, man. And that support right there, man, it can't be, to me, that couldn't be explained. And from that point, um, when I went for surgery to have the tube put in my abdomen, they were there. And when if I had issues going where I had to go to the hospital when I was on peritoneal stuff happening, they were there. And then when I had my transplant, they were there. So, man, I'm telling you that being able to tell them and to take that weight of worry. So I'm gonna put it this way: I was able to cry, if that makes sense. I was
Yeah.
able to really to cry and not say feel sorry for myself, but to they know now. So all right, let's go. It took me a moment to get all that out. And I know this may sound crazy, but it felt like a death and the resurrection at the same time. Because at that moment, the old Fred I was able to let that go. I know that sounds crazy, and accept you get ready to go on dialysis. And so it was a bittersweet moment, my brothers and sisters. And from that point, man, and my wife and son and nephews and nieces, man, it was bittersweet. You know, it was one of them things to say, I love you. We here for you. You're gonna be all right. And so they were that inspiration for me at that time. And I thank God for my wife that she did that, because I was gonna go through the whole thing and not say nothing to nobody. That was where my mind was. But being able to have that, man, was absolutely awesome.
Yeah,
And you know,
sometimes we want to be
no, go ahead,
strong,
Mr.
but
Cook.
I think the vulnerability. Sometimes you have to take off our shoulder pads because we got everything on our shoulders. So sometimes when you take those shoulder pads off and you can rely on family and support, it lets you breathe a little bit because you was prepared to take this on. Wow, that's big, Fred. That's big, bro.
I mean, you know what that was, and it, uh, it was just perfect that this happened this way. Uh, what's your shirt say? I know what it says, but I want you to tell everybody else what your shirt says.
Sir, it's reset, man. And this right here is my brand. It goes along with the dialysis. It's not your life. You're never too late to reset your life. I don't care, man. You got people going back to college at 90 years old, man. I'm telling you, when you have the mindset to understand, I mean, I really believe the scripture, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I'm like my brother said, growing up from nothing, you know what I'm saying? Growing up from nothing, being in the streets. I mean, I was a problem child, getting in trouble, all that stuff. Had the parole officer, all that kind of stuff, man. And how would God use me to look at where I've been and to where I am, man? I mean, it's such a blessing. That's all I can say, man. All this, it's a blessing, man. It really is, man. It really is.
I
It
brought up
really is.
your
But it's
shirt because uh, that's what happened when you were able to get that out. When you're able to tell your family, hey, I'm gonna have to deal with dialysis. I'm gonna have to, I'm dealing with polycystic and things of that nature. That was your reset. You
yes,
were able to
yes, it
get
was.
all of that out, release it, and say, all right, new Fred's here. Let's get it going. Let's do what we got to do, make it happen. That was
Right.
your reset.
Yes, yes, it was. Yes, it
And
was.
you definitely have made the most of it, brother. I definitely commend you, man. You have made the most out of your situation, and it's remarkable, man. We, definitely forward to doing, definitely doing more things with your, collaborators.
Yes,
Just
sir.
seeing what you're doing on your own, what you come up with. Mr. Thames, what about you, sir? Think you still on mute.
Rich, you might be on mute.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, we
Yep.
can hear you.
Okay, repeat the question for me, please.
What was it like for your support, your family when you had to tell them about your kidney failure and dialysis and things of that nature? Like, what kind of role did your support play in all that from beginning to now?
So it was a little different for me because my diagnosis with lupus was like the first thing that I really had to address with my family because that's where everything came from, and it was really out of the blue. I started having a rash, and I was overseas at the time, in Afghanistan and just dealing with a whole bunch of stuff where I couldn't really get checked out like I needed to. But once I got back to the States, saw a specialist, they did some tests, called me back the next morning and said, you need to go directly to the emergency room. So it was like a shock for me, because I was out there just living my normal life, and they ran some tests and found all of these issues that were going on. So I went to the emergency room and got admitted and was there for about a week. So I had to call my family and let them know what was going on. But at the same time, I had a really good mindset. I was really optimistic, and I knew everything was going to be all right. So what I did, because my family is real close, actually, we're out. All of our family is here right now in Ohio. My aunt just recently passed away, and we're going through her house and getting her house in order to sell it and all that stuff. But our family is really, really close. So the first thing I did, I knew they were going to be worried once I gave them this news. So I sent our family group text. I sent them a picture of me smiling. So I just sent them a selfie of me smiling first. Like I sent it to everybody, and they started sending smiling selfies back, just thinking that it's all good. So I told them, listen, I sent that because I don't want y'all to worry about me. I'm in the hospital. This is what's going on, but everything's going to be all right. So I had to plant that seed from the beginning because I already knew that it was going to create worry and things like that. So I wanted them to see me in good spirits, see me smiling, seeing the look on my face that I'm not worried about this. But from there, my family, like I said, we're really close. They all wrapped around me and, started figuring out, what can we do to help? Can we get tested? My sister, she was there in San Antonio with me. So she went through the process quicker than anybody else did. And she actually went through a weight loss process because she needed to lose weight to be a potential donor. And she did that. So just showing that it's more than just, saying, hey, we're here to help and this and that and this and that, but actually taking action to change your lifestyle in order for you to be a potential donor for your brother. So my support system has been absolutely phenomenal, from my immediate family to my extended family, my business partners. And, like I said, we had over 1,500 people share my post that I made. And somebody that saw that post, one of my business partners, stepped up to the plate and actually donated to me. So I have a phenomenal support system. And I thank God for each and every person that's in my life during this season and beyond, because those people that are in there during those times of need, that really shows you who your true friends are, who your true family are, because it's easy for people to kind of discredit you. It's like, oh man, I feel sorry for them, but it's nothing I can do, and they take no action. But for them to actually just show that love through action is what really counts. So I got a phenomenal support system that has been there from day one, that is still here today.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Mr. Drake, what about you, sir?
Yeah, I definitely I had a strong support system for the most part. Like I said, growing up with having a strong single mother, like me and my mom, we never been said like we love each other. Like it was just like tough. We was taught to be tough. I knew my mom loved me, but it ain't like we were going around saying, I just didn't grow up in one of those type of households. But definitely they really didn't know what to say. When people don't know what to say, they just kind of a lot of silence. But my sister, she ended up stepping up. No, I felt disappointed. I'll be honest. I felt hurt a lot when I initially got diagnosed, because a lot of people who I thought would have stepped up to get tested didn't. People who we out fighting, and they supposed to be game bangers, but they scared to get poked with needles. So it's kind of like, I was hurt, because I'm like, man, like all these people who, yeah, you cheering for me at the games, you at the parties with me, you indulging in the women and everything else with me. Then I get sick, and now oh my God, da, da, da. I'm like, hey, I'll go get tested, but you don't go get tested. I'm looking, so I was hurt, man. I was hurt. I'll be honest. It took really God showing me, revealing a lot of stuff through that purpose, like a reason for your pain and a purpose for like a testimony years later. But my sister, she did step up and go get tested, and to God be the glory. They found out she had some issues, some female issues going on that she wouldn't have known if she would have got tested. So that saved her life. So I stayed on dialysis a couple more years until I got a deceased donor. Got my transfer from a deceased donor. But So, but I definitely had a lot of boys like Cook, you know what I mean? A lot of teammates from Why Not. Like a lot of people just stepped up and, like, once Why Not came about, a lot of support came that way. But family is just like, I don't know. I don't think they knew how to go from seeing someone who was so healthy and and so young to being sick, and it was tough. It was kind of like silence within my personal family. But what else? But yeah, so but everything worked out. Like I said, definitely, I believe my situation took my mom, got my mom back in tune with the Lord. Like I said, started going to church, and so it strengthened her relationship.
I don't know what happened to his sound, but that was awesome, Eddie. And like you said, Eddie, I remember, being, you and I met right after I had my transplant in '07, and then you was going through, your dialysis and things like that, bro. But awesome. Phil, go ahead, man. I don't know if Eddie can hear us now, but go ahead, Phil.
Oh, you're up.
Am I still there? Y'all get it? Sorry.
Yes.
Right.
Go ahead, Marc.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that question? Because I get so wrapped up with everyone's story. I'm just like, wow. You know what?
Hey, you definitely got
forget
along
the
with
question because it's you get the question in the very beginning, and then you hear someone's talk, and you're just like, dang, man. You can see the man. I thought my family was gonna be there for me. That form of rejection that you get, right? Like I know what that's like, man. I thought the first people that would show up would be family, but majority of the people who did donate were people who weren't even related to me, right? And I can relate to that, Edward, because that really that was really shocking to me. Friendships as well, man. I had to cut 20-year relationships with people that I knew because that didn't define what I thought friendship was, right? Man, if we ride together, we die together. We bad boys for life, no matter what. And when I'm here in the war zone and you're not covering my six, I know, Rich, you can understand all these terminologies. If you're not covering my six and I have to take care of you and me because I'm listening to saying, I got your back, and when things really do hit the fan and there's no one on my six, it makes you reevaluate that friendship. When everything was good, everything is hoorah hoorah, but when it's down to the nitty gritty, you have to really distance yourself. And they ask, well, why do you distance yourself? Because my understanding of friendship was different on what I thought, right? In the process of what I went through, man, I told my mom I was going to start sharing my story, and she told me, don't tell your story to make people feel sorry for you. Tell them to motivate, right? And I took that, and I ran with that, and that's what led me to my fire. But in the process of and I don't share this too much, but in the process of trying to get with these kidneys, with these people who wanted to donate a kidney, I found that I had a brother who was looking for my father for 43 years and came forward and said, I'm willing to donate a kidney from Facebook. So I said, Dad, you gotta get this man's picture, because there's a lot of that stuff all day long. People asking, hey, can you send us money? I'm really your son. So he sent it a picture. And I said, Dad, send me that picture. Let me see what he looks like. So this was him. And I found out I had a brother.
Kind of like each other.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh man, this man looks like me. But let me tell you a story about how, blood makes you relatives and loyalty makes you family, right? I brought this man to the United States, and he said he was willing to go through a kidney transplant. And what is the worst thing? And I want to test your guys' knowledge on this. What's the worst thing to go through evaluation before going in? Do you guys know?
I believe.
When you say the worst thing to eat is in what?
Salty?
You're right. So he was
Didn't
eating
make your
salty
blood pressure
crackers.
go up.
Anything salty makes
Exactly.
your blood pressure go
And
just a
and,
little
and, and and what does that do to the transplant evaluation team if they see that? That's an automatically no, right?
Yeah.
So
Right. They're
we
gonna
brought
relook
him
at
here.
it and
We
you
found
take
out.
your home.
Yeah, so we brought him here. He started eating crackers, and he wanted to give a kidney transplant, but the moment he got here, he didn't want to give that. So, process, we flew him here from a third world country, from the Philippines, and he came here and just did it for the joyride of, number one, what does America look like, and number two, let me over this one up for him being vulnerable and asking him for money, and he was doing it in front of my face. So that's why I definitely live by that. Blood is just uh uh blood makes you relatives, loyalty makes you family, right? Because even the closest ones, man, and this is my brother here, snake me for the flight over, all the trips. That's pretty expensive, especially when you're vulnerable, fighting for your life, right? You have like a hero that comes in that becomes a villain at the end of the day, you know. So I know what Edward was saying, man, and thank you guys all for this opportunity to listen to your story and how we can all be vulnerable to inspire those who are listening to us, man. And I just want to say thank you, everybody.
Appreciate you, man, joining us, all of you. I'm, we've been on here for a minute, so I'm gonna go make my little quick announcement real quick and wrap up. The reason why I ended on that question of support and family is because of the second chance we have a number of awards that we give out. It's our 1 year anniversary, our first time we get when we first started. We started off with them. So one of the awards is called the Harris Jones Family Award, and the reason why I named it that is because, again, I told you guys before, my family from day one has been the reason why I fight as hard as I fight, and so supporting family is very important to me. So this year, I went. Normally, I would have just picked one. Last year, I picked one. This year, I picked two. One I picked on my own. The other, I think, me and Mr. Cook can agree with. But the first recipient that I'm announcing is Jonathan Trailer, Melissa Trailer. Their really has been there 100% for them. Been supportive of them. From day one. With the eating things of that nature, staying in the gym. Both kids in college doing their thing. They dad, so he's not fighting for nothing. He's got a lot that he's fighting for. I appreciate both of them, him and his wife Melissa, for everything that they do. They holding it down over there in that household. The second one I picked on my own because I'd be a fool not to do it. And the second one is the Cook family. And the reason why I did that is because not only for what Mr. Cook is doing himself, but with his family whole. His son Bryce is in college doing this thing, making things happen. His wife owns her own business as well as being a nurse practitioner. Rocking things over Cream. First of all, that's the best goddamn name I've never heard for anything. Is Creamy Crack Body Cream. Best thing ever in life. I'm definitely playing that commercial when we get out of here. Still the best thing ever. And his daughter, man, that young lady loves that man. Every time we do a show 6 days a week, Monday through Friday every morning and Sunday night. Every morning like clockwork when we end, it don't matter if we start at 10, start at 11, here comes his daughter. And she, the biggest smile on her face. And I know what the son is from is like, Dad. That's all that she even, She was want to hug on dad. I know she take after him because I don't know no kids that love old schools. Like you got a kid that old schools. That is a daddy's child for sure. And when I say loves him, she loves him without a doubt. It's not hard for me to notice. I love my parents to death, so it's easy for me to see, man. And so, again, I ain't sitting there rolling around, in dough like Mr. Burns or nothing like that. But, over time, award will come to your house. You will be getting that. It's one thing I've made a guarantee to be a part of these awards. So, I definitely, I wanted to announce that because it kind of went what we were just talking about it in family. So, definitely, gentlemen, I know a couple of gentlemen just had to get off. I appreciate your time and your commitment to what we're doing, as well as, Mr. Hill and Ms. Coronel. We appreciate you joining us today. Mr. Cook, thank you as always for jumping on and giving your time and your expertise and knowledge on, not just kidney transplant in general and life in general. So definitely appreciate you. It's been, it's 1 year going for the second chance. I'm looking forward to many more years. Come March 1st tomorrow, man, it's been a ride. Mr. Cook kind of know, if you've been here from the beginning, you know what I'm talking about. But we Mr. Cook jumped in and we making it rock. I definitely grateful for his friendship and commitment. So we're gonna get out of here. I done held you captive long enough. Again, appreciate both of you gentlemen, Mr. Cook.
Yes, sir.
And please, if this is for you guys as well as the people watching, whether it's now or in the future, hug your family, tell them you love them,
Right.
tell them you appreciate them. It's important because ain't nothing like waking up and it ain't there no more.
Right. So right.
Thank you, fellas. I just want to say thank you. Hold on.
Go ahead, Mr. Cook. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, fellas, for all you do. And again, this is one of those panels. We got black and brown brothers on here. We definitely this one needs to go viral because
Right.
all the people on dialysis need to hear this because I know the energy that's in this right now will motivate them to step up just a little bit. And just that
Right.
little step up, you never know what can happen. And this is one of those ones that should go boom, so
Right.
everybody can know what's going on. That's all I got to say.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll see y'all tomorrow morning on Let's Talk. Don't ask me what we talking about. We gonna figure like we do every morning, and we gonna make it right. Yeah, like we do. So
I appreciate it, man.
Hey man, Mr. Hill, man, keep doing what you're doing. You too, Coronel, man. We're not trying to go back. We're trying to go forward. We're trying to move that needle. And make the difference. It's stuff like this. It ain't got to be on the second chance. It ain't got to be. But it has to happen to have more conversations like this. So definitely let's for sure try to figure out something we work together and get some things done. Again, appreciate you all, and we'll see y'all tomorrow morning.
All right. Be blessed, man. Thank you again. Thank y'all.